So the Galaxy S26 Ultra is the best Ultra phone you can buy right now. But the real question is, how does it compare to Apple's iPhone 17 Pro Max, especially this year when Apple actually brought some meaningful upgrades? Alright, so starting with the design, the S26 Ultra wins this one pretty comfortably. It's thinner, it's lighter, and you actually feel that difference the moment you hold it. On top of that, it looks cleaner and more refined, like everything was thought through properly. Now compare that to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. The design is definitely polarizing. The camera bump looks a bit odd, the logo placement feels slightly off, and that dual-tone finish just doesn't land for everyone. Sure, both of these phones have downgraded materials from titanium to aluminum, and while I agree that design is subjective, but if we're being real about it, side by side, the S26 Ultra simply looks better out of the two. On to displays. Apple pushed brightness up to 3000 nits on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is more than the S26 Ultra's 2600 nits, but Samsung upgraded the S26 Ultra with the newer M14 panel and a full 10-bit display. And yeah, Samsung's own website still lists it as 8-bit in some places, but that's incorrect. Samsung has confirmed it's actually 10-bit. Now, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is also using similar display tech, so overall quality is excellent on both. But the S26 Ultra pulls ahead in two key areas. First is the privacy display. Smartphone upgrades have become so incremental lately that it's hard to call anything truly innovative. But the privacy display actually changes that perspective. The ability to individually hide things like notifications or passwords while keeping the rest of the screen visible is genuinely an innovative feature. Second is anti-reflectivity. Both phones have anti-reflective coatings, but Samsung's is noticeably better. Plus, it's also more scratch-resistant, so when you look at the full picture and not just peak brightness numbers, the display round goes to the S26 Ultra. Now let's talk battery life, because this is where the momentum shifts a bit. For the first time, the newest iPhone actually packs a bigger battery than Samsung's latest Ultra. We're talking about an 88 mAh difference. On paper, that sounds tiny. In reality, it matters more than you think. The iPhone 17 Pro Max is likely going to last longer in day-to-day use, and that mostly comes down to efficiency. iOS still tends to be less resource-hungry than Android. We've already seen this play out before. iPhone 17 Pro Max outperforms the S25 Ultra in battery tests, and considering Samsung is advertising basically the same battery life on the S26 Ultra as last year's model, the iPhone should edge it out in real-world usage. So this round goes to the iPhone. Charging is more balanced. The S26 Ultra charges faster wired. Wireless charging speeds are basically similar. The iPhone 17 Pro Max includes built-in magnets, which adds convenience. The S26 Ultra supports QI 2.2, but doesn't have the magnets integrated. On the flip side, Samsung gives you reverse wireless charging, which is genuinely useful when you need it. Overall, I'd call charging a draw. Now, performance. For years, Apple loved pointing out that their two-year-old iPhones could still outperform the latest Android flagships. And to be fair, that argument had weight for a long time. But with the S26 Ultra, that narrative shifts in a big way. Across the board, CPU, GPU, NPU, the S26 Ultra pulls ahead. You could even argue Apple might need another generation or two to match what Samsung is pushing here. Now, in real-world use, let's be honest. Both phones are ridiculously fast. But with 7 years of OS updates becoming standard, long-term performance headroom matters. And on that front, Samsung wins this round. Next up is AI, and honestly, this is where Samsung is clearly ahead. They've rolled out a bunch of new features, including the updated photo assist with text prompts, and the edits it produces look so convincing that it's genuinely hard to tell they were altered. The iPhone 17 Pro Max still falls short in this area. The S26 Ultra also brings features like call, screening, where the phone answers unknown calls and shows you what the caller wants before you decide to pick up. Then there's Now Nudges, which analyzes what's on your screen in real time and suggests actions. For example, if someone mentions photos from your trip to Australia last year, it will surface those images right inside the Messages app. It can even handle advanced automation, like booking an Uber to your destination just from a simple instruction, taking care of everything without you doing anything manually. Apple, on the other hand, seems behind. A lot of what they announced last year still hasn't shipped, and the features that did make it to the iPhone 17 Pro Max don't perform at the same level as Samsung's. Yes, Apple is attempting to recover by partnering with Google to bring Gemini into Siri, but that's expected later with the iPhone 18 Pro. The reality is, AI isn't just about plugging in a chatbot. It's about the entire ecosystem working together intelligently. And right now, it doesn't look. Samsung wins this round without question. Now let's talk cameras, because this is where it actually gets interesting. Samsung did make real improvements this year with the S26 Ultra. You're getting larger apertures and better image processing. And it shows. Low-light shots look good. And so does the selfies. Video recording has also been refined. On top of that, Samsung introduced the AV codec as its answer to Apple's ProRes. In terms of overall image and video quality, both phones are excellent. Straight up, I can't confidently say one completely outclasses the other in standard shooting scenarios. They're both top tier. One thing I genuinely like on the iPhone 17 Pro Max is the front camera setup. The square sensor lets you shoot landscape selfies without physically rotating the phone, which is actually a smart and practical addition. But then, Samsung adds Horizon Lock on the S26 Ultra, and that changes the conversation. You can literally rotate the phone 360 degrees, and the horizon stays perfectly level while still recording in 4K. It feels almost unreal when you see it in action. You can move however you want, spin the phone, tilt it, and the footage stays stable with the horizon locked in place. For a lot of scenarios, that makes carrying a gimbal feel unnecessary. I was ready to call. Camera's a draw. But because of that one feature alone, I'd give this round to the S26 Ultra. When it comes to standout hardware features, the S26 Ultra has the S Pen neatly tucked inside the phone. You may or may not use it, but for those who do, it's a game changer. On the other hand, the iPhone 17 Pro Max doesn't really offer a comparable hardware extra that sets it apart. Yes, it has the dedicated camera button, but it turned out to be such a fail that even Apple avoided, using it to take photos in their own promo videos. That says it all. This round goes to Samsung. So what's the final word? As much as I dislike Apple's design decisions and marketing tricks, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is a solid phone. But when you stack it against Samsung's best, the S26 Ultra still comes out ahead, and the difference feels bigger now than it did before. Look, if you're deeply into one ecosystem, you're probably not switching just because of this year's phones. But for everyone else, the best all-around phone between these two is the S26 Ultra. And yes, I know some of you won't like that take, but that's what the comment section is for. I'll be active there, so if you have a counter opinion, let's discuss.